Alrighty, everybody. Here we are at BlenderSith. I know we're late. I'm not. I know I'm late. Uh, Materializer just got updated again, added some more features and improved some things, and this and that and the other. All of it we'll get over it in time, but um, I was going to do a more full tutorial on Materializer than I did last time, and since a new version was coming out, I believe it was supposed to be out this weekend or today or something like that, but or the new features. CG thought was putting out a video for the new features and stuff, and I just got done seeing it, and it's pretty cool. But for those of you that are new or finding this through search, which a lot of you are, because I got only a small group of people that are actually following the tutorials here, but I got basically total new beginners into 3D and stuff that are learning Blender and learning 3D, and so there's a lot of stuff that you guys are going to know and figure out and stuff, and that they don't yet. And this is going to it's going to be a short video, but it's short in my terms, if you know what that means. But going over some different, because a lot of the people that are following me, they're saying they're following other tutorials online, and what is happening on those tutorials or not what happening on their computer. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this could be a lot of reasons. Obviously, you can see, and now I know, there's video editing and stuff like that, but for the most part, these people are not, editing the video. They're doing a tutorial. The problem is they got a much powerful computer than you do. And that means everything works differently. Everything. And this gets into technical stuff. Because if they got an RTX 3090, and you got a GeForce 650, things are going to look different. And if they're doing a tutorial with an RTX 3090, and you're doing one like what I'm doing right here on an iMac with 8 gigabytes and no GPU at all, just integrated graphics that are on the motherboard, it's going to look worlds different. And that's because of the shading, the lighting, the calculations that have to go on with all of that. And the stronger GPU that you have, the more calculations it can do. So something that looks good on my computer, the exact same thing might not look the same on a more powerful one, because it's figuring out, my mind struggles. Let me show you about struggling real quick before we continue. Let's jump over. All right, here we are. As you can see, I'm on my iMac with 8 gigabytes of memory, and we're going to just demonstrate the difference between having a powerful computer that can handle doing shading and all that stuff versus a lesser one. So if you got a PC that's got 8 megabytes, and whatever CPU, it don't matter. But the biggest thing is memory and GPU. This year's got no GPU. It's got stock graphics on board. And this is the problem that you come into. As you can see, we're using Materializer here, the newest version 1.1.0. And we got a basic shading going on our model here from Easy Bear. And I put a plane in here, and I'm gonna show you the difference. If you've been following the tutorial, I modeled, put scratches. We put scratches on this, and made a black material, put red scratches on it, and we got gold here and bronze up here, and all this stuff we did, as you see, fairly easy, just because it's just colors. You can see right here, nothing special. We've got no rut, no, chipping or cavity or or rust, or we got nothing going on right here. This is just color. This is just gold. That's just brass. This is matte black. With roughness turned down basically, and we just put scratches on it. In the color red. So not really a whole lot going on. But watch what happens when we change things up a little bit here. Let's go back into Materializer. Actually, no. Let's open. Let's do this. We're going to go into Grunge, and we're going to get a little processor heavy here. Let's go with something fairly heavy. Let's go with 8 looks good. Let's just go with 7. We'll add Grunge 7 to it. And let's just, to be on the safe side, let's just plug in the roughness. Now you see I got the little spinner ball going there. And you can see I'm trying to move right now. And you can see how it's lagging. See, we got artifacts going on, like motion blur there. And you can see that we're heavily bogged down now. When before that, if I go over here and take this off, see, but before putting that grunge on, you see how smooth we're moving? See how quick this is responding? I mean, wham, wham, zim. I mean, this is flying all over the place. But the minute we hook that grunge up, it's got to process, all of this grunge, and the color underneath it, all the stuff we got going on here. Now I'm moving again, now it's bogged down. And that's because that's just graphics and limited RAM. And this is why, when I get into doing my tutorials and stuff, and we get into animation or much bigger scenes or a lot more models in the scene and stuff like that, this is why, you either got to purchase a more powerful computer, which, yes, is going to run you into the thousands. A good graphics card is going to cost more than a regular computer you buy at Walmart or anything. Just the graphic card alone is going to cost you $1,000 or more. And these days, you can pick up computers with the specs that I have here on this one. You can pick up computers like this, $1,000 or under. You go to the Best Buy and Walmart and stuff like that. But this is why, they're under $1,000 or they're cheap, basically, because they're not made to be doing video editing, 3D animation, texturing, and all of that stuff. They're made to be doing mild graphic work, in Photoshop and stuff like that. Even Photoshop can get a little bit big if you're doing matte painting, or if you're doing Photoshop or photo manipulation, and you get to where you're using many layers and stuff, then it might get to slowing you down. But those computers are for like office work, for spreadsheets and programming and stuff that doesn't get mathematically intense, for figuring out vectors and 3D and all that, like AI and graphics and all that stuff. So that's the difference, folks. All right, and we're back. Now you can see what I was talking about struggling. So let's continue with where I left off here with this. I've zeroed in, and look at these scratches that we had in the well, we didn't inspect them this close, but look at them. It just looks like a surface that I took a Photoshop brush and just started swiping lines over it right here. There's no shading, there's no drop shadowing, there's no cracking. There's nothing to it. And it's the same exact setting, same thing. I got a mix layer here. I got our scratch node, same scratch normal SP, same setup. But if I jump over to my more powerful computer, let's do that. You can see it's different now. We actually see that the cuts have got depth to them, especially if where two cuts cross each other. And there's light inside the deeper ones. The deeper they go, the more light it gets. And the shallower it is, the lighter it is. So you see color variations like that. And look at this one right here that looks like a dotted line. So you see there's a whole lot going on right here. Now, this brings up another issue on mine. Now, this is going to lag. I'm going to zoom out. You see how it's lagging? And I went too far. Yeah. I mean, it's still trying to catch up where I'm at. Let's go back to here, where we're at on this one. Now you see, even my shader window is slow because of the render window over here. It's slowing my whole PC down, which is slowing all the windows down that I'm using. But look at my plane here that I did. See how much more defined that is? I'm trying to get it set up so we can see. But see the definition that we have here? Now look at this. I'm going to go up here. We're on our shading. We don't have no light, no roll lights on anything. Strength set to 1. Everything else is 0. All settings are normal on this right here. And here's our materializer setup. We have our mix layer. We have our iron. And we have our grunge, which has given us this grunge look on our iron right here. And now, I'm going to, when I go deeper into this, when I get more into the materializer in another video and start, we get into this deeper, we'll get into, refining, the iron down here to look more like iron and, all that stuff. But one thing at a time, you guys got to understand this, because for those of you that are going to be following my video, I'm going to be doing this on this computer. Now, you look up here at the top. See this right here? That blender and the logo right there? And look at the one over here. See the 3 circles and the apple? This tells you that I'm on my lesser machine, my 8 gigabyte memory machine, my Apple machine. When you see this one up here, that's Windows. And you can look down here and see that it's Windows. The Windows machine is my cloud computer. And this is the one you can see right here. This is the one where I have the NVIDIA Tesla T4. We're talking much more power, 15 gigabytes, or 16 actually, it's using 1. 16 gigabytes of GPU memory. And, a whole bunch of other stuff that we probably don't need to get into. And it's the same, we go over here. See, we got CUDA, we got OpticX, and everything I can turn on, the Tesla T4. I can turn on, a whole bunch of other stuff on here, Intel Platinum. We don't need to get into that. We'll get into that, but for another video, not for this one. But you can see the difference in the screen. There's none of this in mine right here. This here is just colored marks made by a paintbrush. It looks with no definition, no depth in them. But on the reverse side, my grunge down here is not looking like this grunge. And you can see, I don't know if it's coming in the video, but see, I can see a shiny spot right there. So the grunge is there. And it's the same lighting. See, if I go up here, it's the same lighting. All zeros, 1.0, no light, no world is on. We're in the same shading instead of, instead of rendered. By all rights, everything, this should look like that, with the shinier edge right here. But it doesn't. Now, look also at my settings that are on the plane. Let me get rid of that so we can compare these. See, we have our iron, our grunge, next layer. Color's going into color. Roughness is in a roughness. All the setting, 81, 1.0, 0.2. So we got 81, 0.2, 1.0, iron. All of these settings and numbers are exactly the same. All ones right here, like I said, except for our seed is 8100. 8100, because I didn't do anything. These are all default when I brought them in. I didn't change any of the sliders or anything. But this is different here. And again, this has to do with our rendering. This here has a much powerful GPU than this one. So when it comes to rendering this on my 8 gigabyte, no GPU system, the CPU has to do all the work, 100% of the work. So since it has to do both the texturing, lighting, coloring, and everything all by itself, it's going to figure out a different solution to the problem for this than this machine is, because this machine's got a GPU in it with its own processing power and everything to take the load off of the CPU. So the CPU ain't going to put that much work into it, and we can go and look at the stats, and you can see that the GPU is handling all the thinking and everything. And the GPU is just, or the CPU is just sitting there idle, not doing nothing, because it doesn't have to do any of the work. But because the engine, basically, if you will, that is doing the figuring with not, to it, not a lot of work right here, because I'm not really adjusting numbers or making things more powerful and everything. It doesn't put as much emphasis on these settings as my lesser machine here does on these, because it has to compensate for what it can figure out, what it can't figure out, and so it's going to give and take. Okay, I'll use a little more of this, I'll take away some of that. Whereas this machine over here has got 100% of everything. It says, look, I can use whatever you want to throw at me. Just do it. Is this all you got? Well, okay, if this is all you got, this is all I'm going to give you, because I can do a lot more. And this is what you got to understand when you're watching tutorials online. When you're like, okay, I did a tutorial exact same way he did, but mine doesn't look like his. His looks much better. And again, we can go and also, not only this right here, a lot of people, like for you guys that follow, the Blender brothers, they do, after they're done with their tutorial and they render it out and everything, that's a cool render. It looks cool there, but they go into Photoshop and they do a lot of post-processing on their images and stuff to get them perfect to be displayed as thumbnails and as, full screen posters and, all that stuff. They polish them up even a lot more than what Blender does on its render. They bring it into Photoshop and do highlights and stuff on it and everything, and color grade it and a whole bunch of other things. So you got to take this into effect, even if you're going to do that. If you're going to take it into Photoshop and follow a tutorial that they're doing and do exactly the same thing that they're doing in their Photoshop as you're doing in your Photoshop, and you don't have the exact same machine, the exact same specs, then the result is going to be different. Because again, the processing, the figuring out, and everything, is done differently. as the level of GPU goes down and down and down from what they're using. And if you got to go down to where you don't have a GPU, well, then yours is going to look the worst. Someone that's got a GeForce 600, and I know Rui is running a RTX 3090. Even the 650 is going to look different than what he's running, because his has got more power. It can do a lot more. And if you're trying to set your settings to the exact same settings that he's showing you in his video, and you've got half the GPU that he does, then your machine is going to do what my machine does here. It's going to take the same numbers, but it's going to fib a little bit. It's going to say, well, you know what? I can't do that. I don't have that much room to work with. So there's going to be a lot, some give and take here, and more than likely a lot more take than give. I'm going to give you the best that I can do, but this is it. I got a cool plane here, but at the cost of my scratches. And I could get the black here, this matte black. I could get that to come out a lot better too. See, this is just running so slowly, just me trying to zoom in and move. I can get this better also than over here. See how quick when this moves in? See, look at this, how I'm moving in. We can get these scratches better than this. We can get this black better than this, and these edges. We can get shadows in here. We can put some cavity in these cracks right here. Well, I don't know about with gold, but But you see, and this is why I used such a plain image like this. To show this example, so we can see the difference here without getting, we're a long ways from photorealistic here, and anything looking real nice. But you can see just right here in this one, you can see that the capsule or the crate and the plane looks a lot better than this one. This one's kind of, it looks like a white plane basically with nothing on it. And the crate, yeah, the scratches jump out. We can see the detail in the scratches this far away, but the crate itself was dull. And even, like I said, even the crate has the exact same settings. When we move into it, nope, I'm flipping too fast on my machine here. But we have the exact same numbers on the crate too. Everything is the same. So, this is something you got to just keep in mind. When you're following tutorials, and especially mine in the future and stuff, just understand. If we're getting into a lot of stuff, or at least with mine, now when you're following my tutorial and everything, when you see Windows up here, when you see my Blender that's in a Windows machine, that I'm running a Tesla T4. Now, that's not as powerful as a 3090, but, it's not bad either. But that's just the same thing. And anything I else want to cover? For those of you, this did come up. I'm going to mess this up right now. But I'm going to take this right here, delete this, and we're going to forget this. Oh, that looks cool. I like that actually. But getting started with the Fluent. This came up with the other one. If I add a mixed layer here and pull this up, you can see I'm not connected here, and we got to connect all these manually one by one and that's strictly because I didn't select the principal BSDF right here. When you're going to add your mixed layer, always click on the BSDF, make sure it's selected. Then, nope, don't bring that up over there. Then bring up your Fluent and add your mixer, and it'll automatically be added. See, now we got a weird yellow going on there. Now, it's possible that you're in a habit of where you're not selecting what your node and then bring it up. Like if we wanted to add a new layer here, we can add the new layer here like that. And I've showed you this guys before, but you got the option to connect these in the new update for Fluent. You can click this layer, hold down Shift, click the other one, pull up your material, and right here on this chain cog, right here, click the chain. And that'll automatically click your layers right there. Or automatically connect them. And the same thing if we wanted to do another one here. Let's bring up another layer here, down here at the bottom. And again, we'll click this one, hold Shift, click that one, bring that up. Now, we got both of them connected. Now, another feature on it, we can hold down on the first layer, hold down Shift, select the second layer. Then we can bring it up and do this one right here. We can switch layers. We click that. Then what was on the top becomes the bottom, and what was on the bottom becomes the top. And we can do the same thing back and forth. So, you know, if you got black up here and gold down here, you say, okay, I want to be black. If we could put the black down here and the gold on top. That's all you got to do is just select this one, hold down Shift, select the other one, whichever way you want to go. Bring up your thing and hit your circle tool there, and that'll switch them back and forth. But that's all I want to cover now, going over that, because it comes, like I said, I'm working with beginners, so this comes up a lot when they say they're following what I'm doing and it doesn't look the same, or they're following another tutorial online and it doesn't look the same. They did the same thing that the other person did, but the result is different. And same with the modeling. When we get into Fluent, if someone's doing something in Fluent, before you start asking questions that Fluent's broken or first make clear some things up. If you're on a Discord or channel or with somebody, first of all make sure you're using the same version that they're using. Maybe a version has been upgraded and you didn't know it, or you're coming along to this tutorial for the first time, and someone's using an upgraded version and you're using an older one, and there's no way for you to know that. A lot of people don't tell you that, there's an upgrade or whatever, or they're using, they don't know what you're using because there's so many people watching their video. So again, a lot of things have got to jive for you to look exactly like the person that you're following. So with that, we'll get more into Fluent and Materializer. Like I said, Fluent is up to 2.04 now, and Materializer is at 1.1.0. So we'll be doing both of them. We'll be doing modeling and stuff with Fluent, and we'll be doing our texturing with the new Materializer update and getting into that. And now you know the difference when I'm on my Windows machine versus my Mac machine over here. I won't be doing anything too strenuous over here on my Mac machine, just so you know. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. And I'm sure other tutorials are going to be coming out with CJ Thought and CJ Said. And I don't know if the CG Essentials is going to put anything out or not, or Ask NK. Other than that, those are the only ones that I know that put out Fluent tutorials. So we need more people doing Fluent tutorials out there. So anyway, with that, we'll catch you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you on the flip-flop.